Wonderful. Thanks so much. Good afternoon, Just. I'm Tom Butcher of the Zero Project here in Vienna at our conference, and I am online with Ganesh Singh of the Guyana Council of Organizations for Persons with Disabilities, who sadly is not with me, but is in Guyana. And today we're going to talk about building a mountain out of a molehill, or transforming lives through innovation and technology. So Ganesh, I'm going to fire away with a first question. Could you please tell us a little about the Guyana Society for the Blind's Caribbean Secondary Examinations Program and precisely why it was needed?
All right. Thank you very much, Tom, and good afternoon, everyone. The Guyana Society for the Blind Caribbean Secondary Education Program was started on January 7th, 2013, with approximately 12 students. That program was started as a result of limited or no opportunities for persons who are blind and visually impaired to acquire high school level education. Many of these individuals, when they attend the mainstream schools, and they were part of the general education system, the support systems were absent or very limited. As a result, the majority dropped out or they left school graduating as because of age, not with any qualifications. So because of the lack of opportunities and many intelligent young persons who are blind and visually impaired leaving without any hope for a bright, productive future, um, I saw the need to have such a program. And really, I got the epiphany after teaching approximately 15 young persons who are blind and visually impaired to use the computer with the jobs access with speech software. And I saw that these persons have potential. They can do more than just learn how to use the computer. And I also got the idea to convert hard copy textbooks and other learning materials into versions so that they can have access to it. So that's really how the program started, and it was really to respond to the great need for such an initiative for young people who are blind and visually impaired. Because in Guyana, the opportunities were limited and are still limited for persons who are blind and visually impaired.
Great. Thank you very much indeed for that introduction. And whilst it's quite obvious to me that it's had a considerable impact, how would you describe the impact of the program, just in what it has done in Guyana, but also as an inspiration to other people in the Caribbean region?
Significant, Tom.
Great.
Very, very significant. When we wrote the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate exams for the first time in May, June of 2014, we had the largest group of blind and visually impaired persons anywhere in the Caribbean ever
Good gracious.
writing the exams using a computer. And we had about 10. Um, we all know the Caribbean populations are very small. Guyana, it's only about 750,000. So when we had 10 persons writing the exams in one location using the JAWS software on their computers, that was the first and it was major. Going to or moving to the actual impact, over 65 persons who are blind and visually impaired between the ages of 17 years old and 60 would have written high school leaving exams, and that is the Caribbean secondary education exams, we call it in the Caribbean. They would have written that, and we have had a pass rate or an average pass rate of about 70%.
Good gracious,
So
that's
they did
wonderful.
relatively well. Yes, yeah, definitely. And over half of those individuals would have gained some level of employment, whether it's with the government, whether with the private sector, or whether it's an NGO, they would have gained employment. Some would have even ventured into starting their own businesses. Many of these persons without that opportunity would not have been in the field of work. They would have been home, depending on people to look after them financially and depending on government welfare. Over 25 of the 65 would have matriculated to tertiary institutions, including our university, which is University of Guyana, and our teacher training college, the Zero Project College of Education. Many of those persons are now qualified with their bachelor's degrees, associate degrees. A few are on their way to acquiring their master's degrees, and they are living independent, productive lives, all because of this program. And it's when I speak of this, I get emotional because I myself got blind at 17 just after writing my high school leaving exams. And I had no opportunities. And I don't want to see any other young person who is blind or visually impaired go through what I did. And that's my drive with this initiative.
Well, it's obviously a drive which has resulted in really amazing results, Ganesh.
Definitely.
And so I think for me, one of the questions that is uppermost in my mind is how on earth have you been able to achieve, well, survived and achieved so much with limited resources?
We just addressed it: passion, drive, and a motivation to change lives.
Right.
We have a budget of 1,000 US dollars per month,
Oh,
1,000 US dollars to pay our part-time instructors or teachers.
yes.
However, because of technology and um, administering the program virtually, we are able to cut a lot of costs. Administrative, we have no funds for administrative expenses.
No.
But because we have that passion, we have that drive, and we know that there's a need, technology has played a major role in helping to have this program implemented across Guyana,
Yeah.
and we're working to have it go across the Caribbean. So it's because of having the availability of people around us who are willing to volunteer their time, who are dedicated and want to see change. That's how we've been able to survive.
Yeah.
We've had some private sector and government support, but it's very, very limited.
Right. Thank you. So now I'm going to delve in with some other questions. Um, I think could you just explain the fact, or if I'm right, that there's absolutely no difference between the certification that everybody does online and the certification that they would actually do if they were sitting in a classroom?
There's no difference because
Absolutely.
at
Yeah.
the end, every year around May, June, they will go to the examination center like everyone else,
Yep.
and they will sit and they will be administered the exam. They would get the usual support, whether it's with a reader or a scribe if they choose, or they would have that examination paper electronically
Yep.
on a computer system provided by the examination council. So they write the same exams.
Yep.
The curriculum is no different.
Yep.
All the curricula are the same. The content are the same. So there's no difference. And, we've been able to do this almost a miracle with limited resources using online platforms. And when we started,
Mm.
something, Tom, when we started in 2013, very few people actually administer classes online. We were using Skype. We
Right.
were using
Right.
Skype and we were converting textbooks and
Yep.
other learning materials electronically. It was a novelty in Guyana.
Yep.
And when I went to a few persons went to university and they asked for electronic documents, the lecturers were reluctant, even though they might have had some.
Yep.
But it was a novelty,
Yeah.
and now everybody's going in that direction.
Yeah. I think yes, that's amazing. I'm just going to ask you a thing. I'm not puffing Zoom at all, but I should think that the change and the advantage from moving from Skype to Zoom has been like night and day. And then, as an adjunct to that statement, is what else would you like to see or get from those providers to make things even easier for examinees?
All right. Yes, Zoom has been a revolution. Skype, has had its benefits, but there were challenges. But Zoom, it's more accessible. Um, it's easier where in areas that we have low bandwidth. so that persons in rural Guyana, and Guyana is very large geographically,
Yeah.
with a very, very, very small population size. So Zoom, would have definitely, or is definitely a better option. And one of the things that we've been asking for is alternative testing, especially for those persons in the areas of science when
Yeah.
there are a lot of diagrams and so on. Test the blind persons on the same concept, but do it differently instead of asking them to label a diagram or label um, something that they might have as an image,
Yeah.
because sometimes the reader doesn't do justice to what's there. So they're totally confused as a blind person. We've been negotiating and having meetings with the Caribbean Examination Council in Barbados.
Yeah.
Uh, we've took it on, we've taken it on as a consortium across the Caribbean. And we've, also been looking at other options for the persons with different disabilities. Not to really ask for any concessions,
Mm.
but have the same test, the same exam, but with some alternative methods available. That's what we've been working to see happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can make some progress.
Well, I think on the basis of what you've done so far, you probably will make progress which everybody else would consider to be miraculous. One other kind of question about the kind of lateral and completely added benefits of what you're doing is, I presume you're now enabling people. You say Guyana, of course, is a large country with not that many people in it, but offering the service that you do, it can be offered pretty much anywhere in the country where there is access to the internet. Is that correct? Or to telecommunications?
That is absolutely correct, and I'm glad that you've asked that question. Many persons who are blind and visually impaired, living in the rural parts of Ghana or in the hinterland,
Right.
had no opportunity to attend school, mainstream schools,
Yep.
because of the limited support. It's limited in the city, which is Georgetown and its environs,
Yep.
much less the rural parts. So that is why we've had persons in their 30s, 40s, and even 50s
Yep.
attending classes and writing exams because they've never had that opportunity.
Yep.
But with this virtual means, and once they have internet access, and now we have excellent coverage here,
Yep.
they can use their mobile device. They can, be able to access the classes. And we've made things simple. We've incorporated the use of Dropbox.
Yep.
We've incorporated the use of Google Drive, just so that we can share information. We have even converted information. We've produced some audio files, video files, so that we can share via WhatsApp. So we've made things much easier to get to persons who are not, um, close to us geographically, and who might have challenges using certain applications and certain forms of technology. So we've made it user friendly for everyone by having materials in all different formats.
Great. Ganesh, that's super. We've got about 2 more minutes left. And as I was saying before we started off, could you please give us one or two things that you would like our viewers and listeners to take away with them about what you've done and a little bit about your plan for the future? And I'll give you a shout when we're just coming up to the end.
No, no problem.
Okay.
One, you don't need a whole lot of resources to change lives. You must have an idea, a passion and drive to push that idea, and it can happen. When I had this idea for this program using virtual means, I had two supporters. Two supporters. Everyone else said it wouldn't work, but it did. So you don't need a whole lot of resources. And technology can change the whole landscape and has changed the landscape for education of persons who are blind and visually impaired, and even persons with other forms of disabilities. We've had them in our program and they've been successful. Use technology to the maximum, and it has transformed the education landscape and will continue to do so. As future plans for this program, we are working to expand to the Caribbean and give persons in smaller territories the opportunity to attend classes and sit their CXC exams. And we're also migrating to a learning management system so that our program can be more a bit more formalized and organized. But again, these things takes resources. It takes the technical support that we would need in the background and so on. But we're hopeful that we can get the necessary resources to ensure that these things happen.
Great. Ganesh, thank you so much. I think you are a shining example of how passion and drive can achieve things that could otherwise not be achieved. My congratulations and our congratulations for everything you've done, and it certainly looks to me as if you've created an Everest out of a molehill. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I wish you all the very best for the rest of this year and going forward. And I shall now sign off from this session. Ganesh, thanks so much. Look after yourself.
Thank you very much,
really
Tom.
great to
You too.
speak with you. And thanks to our interpreter as well.